Good afternoon and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Providence Holy Cross Medical Center, Hestia Med Spa, and Comfort Keepers in Home Care. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Kevin MacDonald, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our first guest this morning is my co-host, Kevin MacDonald,
All right.
CEO of the Santa Cruz Valley Senior Center. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Great to be back.
Yes, and let's work together hard today.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah. Oh, and what's happening over at the Senior Center?
Oh, what's happening at the Senior Center? So much. I do want to go back a little bit because we've had some, wonderful events just recently where we honored some people. It was just, we had Vietnam Veterans Day at the Senior Center.
That was in the paper.
Yes, for the first time, and it was so exciting because R.J. Kelly and some of the veterans groups got together and said, can we have lunch to honor our veterans that day? And we opened up Bella Vita during our lunchtime and brought in about 75 to 80 Vietnam vets, put them in a special section, and then asked our chef to make a special meal for them. So they had a wonderful steak meal for all the Vietnam vets that day and a big chocolate cake. And then they set up a nice program for about an hour honoring them with so many people from the community and dignitaries coming in to honor them and thank them. And we were just happy to have it at Bella Vita during our lunchtime because our folks, a lot of them are veterans, wanted to honor them as well. So we had a packed crowd of 300 on a beautiful day, and it was just a time to pause and say thank you to a group of men and women who truly, truly deserve it. And
I'm sure you have Korean War veterans there
yes.
too, don't you?
And we do a lot for veterans to honor them throughout the year. This is specifically for Vietnam Day, and that's where we're able to do it. So we're happy to host that, and we'll hope to host it again.
It was on the front page of the Signal.
Right.
Yes, it was.
So anyway, nice things, and nice for our chef to bring out a nice steak meal for them.
Oh, yes.
So that was good.
Oh, yes.
And then we did something else we've never done before. We had a Seder dinner at the Senior Center, and we worked in with Temple Beth Ami and they and Rabbi Glazer, and we had a nice time. 140 people came in Bella Vita that night to have a Seder dinner, and I'd only been to a couple in my entire lifetime, and it was just so wonderful to sit back and see it and enjoy it, and with all the different foods and everything else. So we had a nice evening there, so we hope to do that again next year. And what they also did, the temple, they provided 75 meals for home-delivered meals people the next morning, a Seder meal.
Really?
For 75 folks that are on our Meals on Wheels routes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, just a nice gift and something different for us. And nice sharing the community and all different facets of the community coming together.
Well, that was a nice
Passover.
Surprise, wasn't it?
It was. We had done a little bit in the last few years through our drive-through, but this time we wanted to have the regular Seder dinner, and that's what we had at Bella Vita. So lots of different things go on there that we don't expect.
That's terrific. Well, you have a beautiful place up there. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it was okay down below, where we had it in downtown Newhall because it was county owned, but it was getting old, and things were, they weren't like they should have been. But up here on the hill, it's magnificent up there, absolutely magnificent.
It really is. We are very fortunate. We're celebrating next week is an anniversary or birthday, as you could call it. 4 years since Bella Vita opened.
4 years?
4 years.
You've got to be kidding me. It's been that long?
It's been that long.
Holy cow.
4 years because we started raising funds in 2015.
Yes.
We raised all the funds by 2018, and then we started building in 2018, and then we opened in April of 2019. After we put the $11 million together, and we remind everybody, part of it came from our wonderful city, part of it came from our county, and then the rest came from the community and corporations and foundations. So it was really 3 different groups committed to making a brand new senior center, and we're so grateful that they did come together to make this, make this all happen for us. And I remember the opening day in April of 2019, and we had like 600 or 700 people in the ballroom, standing room only, to celebrate new beginnings for the Santa Cruz Valley and for seniors. And it's been a whirlwind 4 years, I can tell you
I
that.
can't believe it's been 4 years. Boy, time has a way of just flying away.
It does. Well, when we opened, we weren't sure what we were going to walk into and if people were going to come over from Market Street, where we used to be, for lunch. And then it was clear from the first day they were coming over for lunch.
One way or the other.
Yes. So they started coming for lunch. And then we were open for 10 months until COVID hit. And then we closed down the insides except for the staff for a couple of years, but still did all the meals, so we didn't miss a meal. And then we reopened again. And we've opened again to crowds that are even bigger than opening day crowds right now, with the parking lot full and the drive-through and everything else going on, and all the classes are full. So it's really a wonderful time as we experience some unprecedented growth. And thankfully, we have a beautiful building and a parking lot, and we still have that wonderful support from the city, the county, and the community that makes the world go around for a private nonprofit trying to make it happen.
Well, we have a large number of seniors up here in the Santa Cruz Valley. We really do. And as we're getting older, there are more of us.
Right. And it's nice when you say there's more seniors in the Santa Cruz Valley, and there isn't throughout the country. But we're seeing 10 to 15 new people come in every day from off the streets or from word of mouth, and they're coming to sign up. So I see them every day. We're passing people that are new to us, and 10 to 15 a day is a lot because it adds up.
Oh, yeah.
And
really does.
And they're just welcomed by Amy, who's one of our great staff members, who welcomes them and gets them signed up. If they want a meal, they sign them up. If they want to get involved with classes, they can get signed up for those. And I have sons and daughters bringing their moms and dads in and saying, we're just looking for someplace to go during the day. And because we have that resource. So you're right, it's growing, and the senior population's growing, so we're trying to keep up as much as we can.
Well, that's incredible, because like I said, more of us are getting older. There are so many seniors, there really are. And I think, who wants to raise the senior age limit?
I don't know.
Somebody in one of the states or several states wants to raise it to 64 or something.
Okay, well, whatever they want to do, we're okay right here.
As long
we're
as
okay.
they're seniors.
We're going to serve them, and we really don't check your ID at the door. Except for lunch, we got to check your ID, but other activities, we don't check your ID. It's okay whatever age you are to use our services. So
now we have something coming up that's really, really important.
It really is. It really is, and it's our main fundraising event of the year. And it's exciting, and it's called the Celebrity Waiter event is Springtime in Paris, if you could relate to or not relate to.
I absolutely can relate to that. On my 75th birthday, I think I told you, I climbed the Eiffel Tower, step by step. And my husband at the time said, "You're going to pay to climb the Eiffel Tower?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I'll see you up there. I'm taking the elevator." And when I got there, 642 steps.
Wow.
When I got there, he said, "What took you so long?"
Oh, gee. But you did it.
Yeah, I did it. And it was a unique experience, because every level you can stop at and look around.
Okay.
Because it stopped. The levels were all around the actual tower,
right?
And you could see all over the place.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It was an incredible experience. It really was, and I totally urge anyone who goes to Paris to get up climb the Eiffel Tower.
Okay. Well, if you go to Celebrity Waiter, you may have a chance to go to Paris. Because, of course, at our big fundraising event is a live auction item, which includes a trip to Paris.
Oh,
and access to the Eiffel Tower. So do what Barbara did when she was 75 and climb that tower, and we'll get you tickets and set you all up. But
it's an incredible experience, and I urge everyone to bid on that trip.
There you go.
Yeah, if you've got the money, bid on it, please, because you will not regret it. Paris is a beautiful city.
And we're going to try to recreate that a little bit. You can't climb our Eiffel Tower. That'll be there that day because it's just a replica. But the community's coming together, Barbara, and we're happy to announce we're basically sold out. We have 30 different sponsors. 30 sponsors coming together to support the senior community, and we're thrilled. I can't name all of them on air, but we're just thrilled that the corporations and the families have come together and say, no, we want to support the senior center this one time a year, which is our fundraising dinner. So we have 33 tables sold, and done with, and we're still, a week and a half away, and then we're going to make it a magical night, which is our goal. We have a great band coming in, which is a French jazz band with a harpist playing and a saxophone and a bass player and a drummer.
Oh, my
and they're going to be
goodness.
playing for us throughout the evening and airing that. We're going to make it a little bit like Paris, a night in
That's
Paris.
fantastic. Now, are you going to have Parisian food?
Yes, we are. We have
Whoa!
our executive chefs from Bella Vita are doing. Our whole team said we want to serve your meal this year. So our executive chef Cindy Smith and Marco Rios and the entire team is coming together. All of our staff are going to be working that day to provide a wonderful desserts, appetizers, and that main course that they will surprise you with.
Oh, that is fantastic.
So if anyone still wants
Springtime in Paris.
Springtime in Paris. If you
Yes.
still want to support us, give us a call. We can probably squeak in a few more individuals to get
Well,
into some seats.
my daughter ordered 3 seats.
I know. We got
for
your
me.
3 seats ready for you.
Good,
And
good,
get ready
good.
for that live auction for a trip to Paris, balloon rides, wine tasting, and so much more for a fun night.
The balloon rides are terrific. 'Cause I've also done those too.
Yes.
And I bought it at the Celebrity Waiter dinner several years ago.
Okay. So,
So,
yes. It
but a
should.
balloon ride, oh my goodness, it's unbelievable. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you're going to ask me the question of who are the celebrity waiters this year, Kevin?
Who are the celebrity waiters?
Some of our volunteers who we want to honor once again, and they'll be delivering desserts to some of our tables.
Oh, that's
So we have
terrific.
16 volunteers as part of our mission, and we want to honor our volunteers to come out almost every day to support our seniors. And they're our true celebrities this year, if there ever was one. So they'll be seated, and we'll give them a special round of applause to them tonight to thank them, and they will be our waiters serving desserts.
Terrific, terrific. Oh, it's going to be a fun night.
So that's Saturday, April 29th.
Yes, I'm
Call
looking
the Senior
forward
Center
to
for more
it.
information or to get some last-minute tickets. We'll squeeze you in.
Yes.
And we're excited because, I've told you before, we have to raise almost $1 million a year to break even. We say things are free at the Senior Center. They're not free.
No, they're not
And,
free.
and as a private organization, we have to raise those funds to keep the food lines going, to keep the classes going, and everything else. And this is the one time a year
And this is one way to do it.
and it's a fun way to do it.
Oh, absolutely. Springtime in Paris. I'm so looking forward to it. Oh, it's going to be wonderful. 5 p.m. reception and the 6 p.m. the program. And it's going to be outside.
Outside.
Let's hope the weather is great.
The weather will be fine, and if it isn't, we have a grand ballroom to go to.
Oh, yes.
So we'll be
Oh,
ready for
yes.
anything. And we have great co-chairs this year: Bonnie Tieford and Melanie Meyer are our co-chairs. Brian Kegley's our MC.
Yes.
Ed Masterson is back. He's at our auctioneer.
Oh,
so we got
he's
the
terrific.
community coming to hang out with us and have a good time that
The
night.
old timers.
They're
Yes. Oh, my goodness. That is fantastic. Yes. Springtime in Paris. Oh, my goodness. And that's when I was there. No, it wasn't. It was in the fall.
back. Okay. Well,
Because my birthday is in
okay.
October.
We'll have lots of flowers out there. You'll feel like it's springtime in Paris for you.
That is fantastic. April 29th. Wow, springtime in Paris. So, let's get back to what else is going on.
Can I get back, because we're going to honor our volunteers that day, but we also
Yes.
honor our volunteers through the wonderful program called, as you know, as a former member, Man and Woman of the Year program, and we put up 2 nominees this year, and we just want to highlight them, and that's Dr. Chris Avellino, and he's with Facey Medical Group. He's a VP, and he helped me get through COVID, and all of our staff as our
Fantastic.
free consultant to serve us and help us get through COVID, Dr. Avellino. Our other nominee is Jackie Hartman. And of course, Jackie Hartman is the mother of the drive-through service because she
She's
helped.
the mother of a lot
Yes, she
at the
is.
senior center. She really is.
She is, and
Oh,
she helped us
yes.
get the drive-through going, and she worked the drive-through for almost 3 years straight, almost every day out there, cheering on. So we're honoring Jackie Hartman this year and Dr. Avellino this year for all they do to support us. Because with 200 volunteers, a lot of people doing a lot of things,
Oh, yes.
and we could not run this
Without
place
volunteers.
they're so valuable. You know the Meals on Wheels volunteers because Jackie's husband Tom and daughter Kerry both do Meals on Wheels during the week. So the whole family is involved, and we're just happy to honor them a little bit this year.
That is fantastic. Well, it's going to be a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
event. It really is. And let's pray for good weather. Don't rain.
That's
Please don't rain.
So we'll
But
be
even
ready.
if it does, we will still have a beautiful time inside
There you go.
because it's gorgeous inside too. So, oh my goodness.
And we have a few more things coming up. We have Family Caregiver Resource Day, which is May 10th, which we open the doors from 10:30 to 2:30 on that day to give resources to family caregivers to make sure they have every possible resource they could imagine. And it's a program put on with lots of support from all of our community partners. We just happen to have it at Bella Vita. Fritz Coleman's coming to speak to us from Channel 4. And one of the ladies who's head of the Alzheimer's Association, she's coming up to speak, and lots of people, lots of tables of vendors saying, how can we support the family caregiver, and what a great people to support as those who are caring for our seniors and caring for others. And this is a kind of a day to give them everything they need. So we're excited about that on May 10th.
That's terrific. I have a son and daughter who stay with me.
Right.
Because they don't want me to be by myself.
That's wonderful.
It is. It's fantastic. And I also get some of the meals also, and they are delicious.
Good.
Oh, my goodness.
Good. And today you're going to get your garlic and fresh herb turkey breast today.
Yes.
So when you get home, you'll get that.
Okay, that sounds terrific. Oh, my goodness.
So.
I guess we need to take a break, don't we? 3 more minutes? Oh, let's chat 3 more minutes.
Oh, we got things going on, Barbara. We got our summer concert series is starting back up again, so we're excited about that. We do concerts probably 10 months a year. So
that'll be outside.
That'll be outside.
Yes.
And
yes.
Rod Stewart, or the cover band for Rod Stewart, it's called Rod the Mod, is coming May 6th. That'll sell out very soon. It'll sell out this week. We usually have 300 people come out for our summer concert series in our courtyard. We have a Linda Rodstand cover band coming in June, and then a Frankie Valli in July. We got John Denver coming. We got the Beach Boys coming. We're rocking out at Bella Vita. This will break over 230 events, of outdoor events for seniors to come with their families. It's not just for seniors. It's for the families to come with them.
That's right.
And we're only charging $5. That's going to go up a little bit, but it's a nice evening out with
but
some.
That's a cheap night.
Yes, but a great music for an hour and a half. And some appetizers and things like that. So it's really a family thing to come together. And if you haven't experienced it in our courtyard, every seat's a good seat.
Oh, it is. I know. I've been there.
Parking is not a problem.
Nope.
So we're excited about that. And then we've expanded our class offerings. So now we're up to 30 different classes offered at the Senior Center.
Oh.
30.
30
different classes.
30.
Yes. So you're going to be busy if you want to be busy.
Oh, my goodness. That's amazing, and it's all kinds, isn't it?
Yes, it's all kinds. And
okay, name a few of them.
Oh, you got your Tai Chi, you got your Zumba, you got the different card groups going on. You do have the fitness center in there, the billiards room going on, different art classes, 3 different art classes.
And you have bingo?
And bingo's going to restart. We're going to start this summer.
Good.
So we're excited. We're excited about the future of Bella Vita as we celebrate 4 years and growing and growing.
4 years. I can't believe that. 4 years. My goodness. Doesn't seem possible. I mean, like I said before, time flies, doesn't it?
Time flies.
When you're having fun.
And we're having a good time at Bella Vita, so come on by again.
Sounds wonderful. Well, I think we need to take a little break, and we'll be back in a few minutes. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Kevin MacDonald, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Kevin MacDonald, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. And our guest now is the one and only Myles McNamara, one of our sponsors. How are you doing, kiddo?
I'm well. How are you all today?
Doing great. Okay, what are we talking about as far as Comfort Keepers is concerned?
Well, like I was talking about with Kevin before we came on, I always like to just start off with folks who aren't familiar with home care, what non-medical home care is, because I've mentioned it before that, I run into people all the time that says, "Oh my goodness, if I only knew about you when Mom was still alive." Or
Yes.
if I knew about you when, and so we just try to get. Even though home care has been around for over 20 years now, it's still a relatively new industry in the scope of things.
Yes, that's very true.
And a lot of times folks confuse this with home health. Where you get prescribed by your physician for a nurse or someone to come to your home and provide medical assistance in the home because you can't get to the hospital, or maybe recuperative care, that type of thing. Whereas, although we work with all those medical units like hospice and home health and palliative care, what have you, we're there as a personal assistant, if you will, for our seniors. We do all hands-on personal care. Anything that doesn't take a medical license to do, our caregivers can do. That means making sure, which is the top reason folks go into the hospital, seniors, is mismanagement of their medications. So we make sure they take their meds on time, make sure they're eating nutritious meals, make sure they stay hydrated, especially during the dog days of summer. And then, we can help them with personal care, in and out of the shower. Basically, if you're an adult child who's caring for a mom and dad, that's what we do for you. So you now when you come visit, you can have quality time with your parents or your aging loved one and not be the chore master while you're there. I watched my mom do it, as my grandmother aged and dementia started to set in, and before, while she could still live somewhat independently, all my mom did was run over there, bang out that list of chores, run to the store, and she was always, between work schedules or whatever, and she didn't just go and sit down and visit with my grandma and just enjoy the quality time and let our comfort keepers be the chore master. So when the adult children come in, the loved one is fed and taking their meds, and now you can just enjoy quality time.
Good family time.
Yeah, because it's so frustrating when I saw Mom for 2 hours today. Did you? No, you didn't. You did the laundry. You went to the store. You helped her with the shower. And then you maybe had 5 minutes to say, "Okay, I love you, bye." So that's what we are. We're non-medical in-home care, and basically a blanket statement that I like to use, that anything doesn't take a medical license to do, our comfort keepers can do. We've been around for over 20 years. I have an office here in Santa Clarita and another office in Encino. We will go out to Palmdale, so we will do Tri-Valley services. I have a lot of caregivers that live in Palmdale, actually. So that's basically what home care is.
Why did you start it? You said 2001 you all started, and what was your drive?
It had a lot to do with my experiences, as I mentioned earlier, with my mom, my grandma, and because home care wasn't around back then.
Yes,
when my grandmother was, aging, and it broke my mom's heart when we eventually had to put her into a nursing home because home care didn't exist. It did, but it was by unpaid family members, as you well know. But Kevin, it was weird because I was in the entertainment industry and things were going decent. But I had 2 kids, and it was like, okay, I should probably start a business. And it happened when I went to Wisconsin for a family reunion, and one of my uncles was in a key position for a home care company. I'm like, what the devil is a home care company? So he explained it to me, and it was like, I know this sounds sappy and trite, but if you can make a living while helping people and providing independence for the seniors, and again, reflecting on my past, and so honestly, it was a good business opportunity, and on the other side, you really get to help people.
Yes.
I know it sounds sappy and trite, but
No,
truly,
that's not sappy
it
and
was,
trite.
when you're looking for a business venture that has growth opportunity, our baby boomers are getting older, I can't remember the stat, but it's like triple or quadruple digits of folks turning 65 every day, and where do seniors want to stay? They want to stay in their own home.
Absolutely.
Sometimes folks choose an assisted living facility, that cruise ship on land type atmosphere, but 99% they want to stay in their own homes. And again, it's like my mom, and don't do this, folks, if you're an adult child, because you don't have a crystal ball and you can't see the future. And my mom did this, and it tore apart because she promised my grandma, "I'll never put you in a home." There's medical factors and stuff that come into play. You're not the almighty, so don't make predictions and promises you may not keep, because my grandmother, again, without the existence of home care, when the dementia really set in and her care needs really escalated and the medical byproducts started to happen, she didn't have a choice, and then so it just crushed her soul that she broke that promise. So don't make a promise that you don't know if you can keep, because medical issues get in the way, economics get in the way, whatever the case may be. But the goal is, let's keep your folks at home as long as you can. And seniors call us themselves, and they're perfectly mentally healthy, but maybe physically they say, you know what, I need a helping hand around the house, a couple days a week. And so they bring us in, which is rare, because I've rarely meet a senior who needs help. Right. So we get a lot of resistance, and actually we can get to it later if we have the time, but I have a thing we call the talk. because you have to look down the road. That old cliche as far as people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan.
That's very true.
At some point in our lives, we all think we're immortal. We all think that it's, onward and upward. But then, Father Time kicks in, and, those golden years aren't what they promised. You really should look down the road, having legal documents in place that I've talked about a lot. Have an advanced health care directive in place and a trust and an estate plan, so that if something happens, God forbid, that your loved one can't speak for themselves. I think there's a law that may have passed by now if you can prove you're a family member, but I don't know. Do you remember that legislation, Kevin? I know it was up. I don't know if it passed.
I don't know if it passed either.
Yeah. So they are working on legislation that if you can prove you're a family member, which is sometimes more difficult than you think, because you've got a maiden name and you're from a different state, and they're like, yeah, right. And so anyway, you need to have documents in place to prove that too. But, Advanced Healthcare Directive lets you speak on behalf of your loved one in the hospital if something happens and they can't speak on their own behalf, rather than not having that documentation and the doctor's giving you the hand and say, well, I can't really talk to you, so I'm going to make the decision, the state's going to make the decision. Whoever makes the decision, the most important factor is it's not you. So have all that stuff in place, and then, so once that's in place, have a talk with your parents. Ask them, how do they see this progressing? What's that map look like for you? So that when things start to evolve, there's less, if not any, pushback, because they've drawn the map. They've said, this is what I want to do. This is, and then you financially start preparing for it. You emotionally start preparing for it. And when you have that talk with your parents, sometimes the bigger talk, because I see it all the time, almost comes to fisticuff, is the siblings need to talk. It's like, how many times have you had them standing out in the hallway of a hospital or somewhere else and go, this is what Mom would have wanted. No, that's not what Mom would have wanted. Well, why didn't you ask Mom when you could?
Right.
So plan ahead. And so this, because when you have an advanced healthcare directive and you name an agent and a backup agent and even a third agent to make those calls for you when it comes to your estate, when it comes to your healthcare decision, it doesn't have to be a son or daughter. It doesn't have to be a family member. It just has to be someone that you trust when push comes to shove, that they will follow your manifesto. Not say, well, I don't want to do that, let's do this. Because emotions are huge. Sometimes you have to make a decision that you don't want to make, but it's what Mom or Dad put in their, trust or their advanced healthcare directive. And you just have to be prepared, if you are a son or daughter who's named to that position, that you have the strength to follow that map. Don't be varying from it. Don't make a left when you should have made a right. Don't plow ahead with your personal. I think I've mentioned it on the show before. Is you've all heard of the golden rule. Treat others as they would want to be treated, as you would like to be treated. But as I said, I didn't come up with it. I can't remember where I heard it. But there's something called the platinum rule, which is treat others how they want to be treated. Because they may not want to be treated the same way you want, or the decisions, or the whatever. So the platinum rule trumps the golden rule, because it's like, treat people well. The golden rule still stands up very well. But the platinum rule, when you're an adult child and you've got an advanced healthcare directive or whatever it is, the map, the whatever, is treat others as they want to be treated.
And those conversations have to take place.
They do. And doing it before it's an issue, when everybody's calm. My mom, who I lost last year, I tried to walk the walk or walk the talk, however that goes. She was living alone up in Northern California, and it was just a calm time. I was up there visiting, and we just started chatting, and she was talking about how she got lonely a lot, and so I just kind of started planting some seeds, and asked her, what her thoughts were on the cruise ship on land, assisted living, that what have you, and it was. And I'm not saying be manipulative, because you want to do what your loved ones want. But it was her idea as we continued the conversation.
Right.
I think I would like an assisted living. I'd be around folks my own age. We could play cards. We could play bingo. We could do whatever. And so as that discussion evolved and the time came, we seamlessly moved her into an assisted living facility, sold her home. So she had the funds, and my brother and sister and I were on the same page, because that sibling conversation happened too, because once I hit a little pay dirt, I called my brother and sister, hey, Mom and I just talked about this, and she's on board, and blah, blah, blah. Right. So we started making plans that way, started looking for assisted livings in the area before she needed it, so we could calmly go and evaluate them and make our own judgment and pick the place that, that we thought she'd like. Platinum rule. Right. So then we took her to visit multiple ones. It's not time yet, Mom, but we talked about it, and you said this is, so let's have some choices before it becomes an issue. And then she literally at the end of the day pulled the trigger on the decision. Okay. I think it's time.
So you empowered her.
Yeah, I empowered her.
The last decisions made were her under her power.
Exactly. And she said, I think I'm ready. I'm having a hard time, walking very on my own. I'm lonely. And it was her idea to then take that map journey that she orchestrated. Right. That's hugely important. And my brother and sister weren't in my ear because I kept them, abreast of the conversations and the progression. And, so it was actually.
So you did follow your own advice.
I did. And because, again, if you wait till the adverse event, the stroke, the heart attack, dementia creeps up on you, and then all of a sudden you're arguing amongst your siblings, and, and mom doesn't want to do this, or dad doesn't want to do that, but it's best for you. No, stop it. Right. Plan ahead, have that conversation. It's kind of like they said to before because the advanced healthcare directives can map things out so thoroughly, even down to the music you want played at your services. I mean, whatever you want, And so you've heard the story of, as you're making your map and your advanced healthcare directive, is go out and do. Kind of sounds morbid, but we have to have these unpleasant conversations sometimes, is go out and pick your casket and all the accessories and urn if you choose to be cremated well before you need them, because if you walk in there in tears, and I'm not being disrespectful to our wonderful, mortuary folk, but if, and they start throwing emotion sales at you, well, you want to bury mom in a box? This is the better one.
Oh, yes, I've been through that.
Yeah. So again, make those decisions before emotion is your guide. You're making a financial decision, you're making a preference decision, and you're doing it without any pressure. You're not overwhelmed with grief or emotions. So have all that stuff mapped out before you. It's like getting a map ready for your trip cross country.
Right.
Now we have GPS. We're all lazy, but I remember back in the day, I'd unfold that map, and you knew exactly when and where. I'll gas up here. I got to switch freeways, and you had that map before you headed out. Rather than most of the people go out and, where are we going? Right. And they get lost.
Well, it's interesting because I have all of mine all taken care of. The plot, where it's going to be, everything's taken care of.
Yeah.
Because, that's too much for a son and a daughter and family members to absorb. It really is.
And talk about walking the walk is, think about how, I don't want to say easy because they've lost you, but how it won't be an issue of following your map. You've given them the map. You've
That's
given
it.
them the
So they know exactly
they'll
what
deal
I
with
want.
right. So they'll deal with their grief, but they won't be making these decisions guided by emotions, guided by conflict, guided by whatever. It's all where it needs to be.
The only problem they're going to have is deciding what to do with the house. Because I have a son and a daughter left now, and it's going to be their decision,
Yeah.
And it's not going to be an easy one.
But again, that's an important part outside the emotions and such we talked about is the house. Is if it's properly included in your estate plan and your trust, there's tax avoidance, which is a lot different than tax evasion.
Oh, yes.
That's illegal. But if you have things done right, so from bank accounts to maybe a portfolio of stocks and bonds, your house, if that's all in a trust that's owned by the trust, and your loved ones of your choice are the executors of that estate, now you're not paying death tax and inheritance tax and all these other taxes that pound on. So the trust is the entity that owns all your assets.
That's right.
So and again, tax avoidance is huge as we protect our nest eggs, and we want to maybe perpetuate generational wealth. So I mean, again, don't plan to fail.
Well, it's interesting because in the mail a couple of weeks ago, I got a form. It was a life insurance that Russ had taken out. And I'm thinking, what? something else came up.
Well, but that sounds like a good thing.
Oh, well, it is.
You now have an island.
But trying to get it implemented, that's the biggest problem. Because, we have to come up with a death certificate and all kinds of paperwork. And because it was in his name.
And you didn't know about it?
I didn't know about it.
Surprise.
This has happened several times since he passed away. But
fortunately, that's a good surprise.
Yes, it is. Well, I've had several of them. And fortunately, I have a good person next door who is helping me take care of it all.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important point. There's people next door who help you take care of it all. When you're talking from a Comfort Keeper's perspective and all of your staff and everything else, but then you just shared with us some wonderful knowledge that the average senior needs to know as they plan in the future. So I think it's more than just Comfort Keepers, the in-home care, but it's that knowledge base for seniors charting that path, the assistance that Barbara might need on something totally out of the box, but she still needs assistance.
Right.
So information that you can share as an organization, as a corporation, it's beyond in-home care. Am I right?
Yeah, and my care managers are well versed in everything I just talked about, because it's kind of a whole holistic, if that means all. I don't know. I don't like that word holistic a lot of times, but it's a inclusive approach in that it's just not the home care and the bullet lists of what we have on our brochure,
Right.
but it's everything we just talked about. So when my care managers go in, and even though we're not medical, they're both nurses, so that because we interface like I talked about.
So the care managers, just to be clear, are another level above your in-home care staff. Is
Correct.
That right? And they're kind of like social workers in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically case managers, if you will. I call them care managers, but when we have a prospective client call, that then they do the initial assessment and they look at the whole picture of everything. Again, we just chatted about before we put a Comfort Keeper in place. We've talked about all this other stuff, and it's amazing how much of them, they thank us and oh my God, I had no idea. And then we put a caregiver in place, and then that same care manager oversees the case, make sure the care plan's being followed, make sure the client's happy, the family's happy, the whole 9 yards. So it's a very, holistic approach.
It's inclusive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we need to take a break. Yes, we do. We've chatted a long time.
Oh, time flies.
Time flies is right. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Kevin MacDonald, CEO of the Santa Cruz Valley Senior Center, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Kevin MacDonald, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. And we're speaking with one of our sponsors, Myles McNamara of Comfort Keepers in Home Care.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yes. What an incredible conversation we've had.
Yeah,
And we
I
can
try
still continue.
to bring a little bit of knowledge to the table to help folks. I mean, that's what we're all about.
We certainly are. And just as we went to break, you were giving us this big umbrella picture of your care managers. I know it's the individualized care plan as the fancy name for it.
Yeah.
But just wrap it up for us in a bundle of what a family gets with that whole package.
Well, every case is different, obviously. When you look at the bullet list of what we provide, a lot of folks under evaluate or not evaluate, appreciate, value, whatever, is companionship. Because our seniors are lonely. So a lot of times our caregivers will come in and just be a companion, take them to the store, play Yahtzee, whatever. But basically, that package includes that everything we talked about. My care managers will address in that initial assessment, and then once we specifically outline a care plan, which is obviously very different from one to another, and then we have that care plan in our web system that our caregivers have access to, and then, but we're very flexible too, because it's not like, well, I'm only here to do A, B, and C. If we get there and the client says, hey, today I need D, okay, we'll work that in, so we're very flexible in that. It's whatever's needed, but we have the highlights. And then my care managers will circle back and do well checks and talk to the adult children, talk to the client themselves, make sure that, number one, they're happy with the execution of the care plan. Does it need to be adjusted? We reevaluate and adjust it every 3 months, in addition to talking to them at least weekly, if not more. And then, making sure big time, and then of course our Comfort Keepers feedback is essential. So they'll call and say, I know they didn't tell you, but they really need X, Y, Z too. So then my care manager will follow up with the decision maker, could be the client themselves or whatever. So it's really an ongoing morphing existence, if you will, because our clients' needs will change as they stay with us a long time. Folks may or may not have heard of the term respite care, but that's just giving the family caregiver or the spouse a break. It's also a good way to kind of introduce our services to a senior that may or may not be aware of it and push back at the beginning. Then like, and then a lot of times respite care will grow into a more consistent schedule, and then as their health or whatever deteriorates, then our schedule grows. So it's really a hands-on, ever morphing kind of relationship that we have with our families and our clients, and I run into folks in the community all the time that we help their parents out before they passed, and it's just this sort of bond. It's like running into your old teacher from high school when you're 40, and so I'll run into folks in the community that we've helped, and obviously word of mouth is important, so they we get a lot of former client and current client referrals that oh gosh, my neighbor's mom needs help too, blah blah blah. So that, I don't know if I answered the question, but it's sort of an all-inclusive, ongoing, morphing relationship.
That's wonderful. That's what a resource.
And we go to the hospital if need be. A lot of times folks get admitted to the hospital, and the decision maker, the adult children, whoever, say, we want you to go sit at the bedside and just make sure they're being well taken care of and looked after, but they're there, because hospitals are busy and they do well checks every hour or two, but having someone right at the bedside with their loved one, and then of course coming home from the hospital, we may increase care for a short period of time before it goes back to normal. So no one wants to be readmitted back into the hospital once they get out of the hospital. So medications, doctor follow-up appointments, all the really integral things that you need to pay attention to prevent readmissions. Hospital loves us too, because if we prevent that readmission, they don't get those Medi-Cal dings, or Medicare dings, because if someone gets readmitted with the same code within 30 days, the hospital pays the price. So anyway, that's sort of the all-inclusive approach we take. We work with our hospital partners, we work with the family, we work with, senior center social workers. I mean, whoever is integral in that whole aging in place picture.
That's wonderful.
As long as the elderly person is taken care of.
Yep.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
It really is. That's the bottom line.
And also keep in mind, as your folks age in place, that we hear the term. Got to close that off. When you child-proof your home, there's such a thing as senior-proofing your home too. Because when seniors start walking with walkers, and now you've got throw rugs, and nope, those have got to go. As they age in place, now maybe a safety bar might be installed in the shower. Get rid of a lot of surface changes. Carpet to hardwood or vice versa, but especially throw rugs. Are there cords out and about that the walker's going to get tangled up on? Are there any sharp corners if mom falls? Round that off, pad that corner up so she doesn't fall and hit her head. So, again, it's that whole approach that you have to kind of pay attention to.
I have a walker there.
Yeah.
I don't dare go without that walker.
Yeah.
I try, and I think,
But doing this for 2 decades now, and like I said, it's really it's a growing community, but it's a small community, and just running into folks that we've helped, and it's just that, again, trite, but kind of that glow feeling in your chest. You're like, yes, we were there for you.
wow,
That's nice.
That's
we were there
wonderful.
for you.
Yeah.
What a nice